this. I'm not going to be doing anything loud. I hit 40,000 subscribers. I fucking hit 40,000. I can't believe it.
Hello everybody, so y'all have been asking me to talk about the Hayden Panettiere story, and I finally took the time yesterday to read her entire book. I read the whole book front to back yesterday, and I have so much to say. I'm actually going to go live on my other channel, my live show today, and just do like a full live investigation on some of the stuff that I found. I have pages and pages of notes, but something that I have not seen people really focusing on at all, and it could just be because I missed it in my research, but what I have not seen people focusing on at all that I really think is important after reading her book yesterday is the similarity and the many similarities between Hayden's passing and her little brother's passing. Now, you probably know this, maybe you don't. Hayden was one of two children from the same two parents, and she had a younger brother who was like about 4 or so years younger than her. His name was Jansen, and he also passed away in 2023. Now, in Hayden's book, she talks about him passing away. And she talks about struggles that he had before he passed away. He was actually a child star himself. He was in Nickelodeon movies. He did voice acting, I think, on some animated films. I think maybe Bug's Life. Maybe not Bug's Life. Maybe that was Hayden. But he did a bunch of Hollywood-related stuff as well. Well, when you look up Jansen, the little brother's passing, you just Google it, you might come across something like this. Jansen Panettiere death. He died February 2023 at the age of 28 from cardio. Sorry, I'm not a doctor. I do not know how to pronounce these names. Cardiomegaly, which just means like a large and enlarged heart, coupled with aortic valve complications. Well, what's being reported right now in the news about Hayden is that she's
Is it working?
died from an O to the D.
I should probably check my own
That
YouTube
being
channel.
said, it was also widely reported that she was found in a cardiac arrest. So she was having like a, cardiac arrest. I don't know if that's the same thing exactly as a heart attack, but when people do OD, very often primary cause of death or the first cause of death that shows up
Dude,
before
come on, bro.
not the primary cause of death, obviously. The first cause of death, the original cause of death, before all of the toxicology reports and stuff come back, the cause of death will be cardiac arrest, cardiac arrhythmia,
Is it even working?
cardiac arrest, cardiac arrhythmia.
Yes.
Cardio something cardio, right? So with Hayden, who just passed away just a few days before her birthday, by the way, in August 2026, so on the 17th, it's suspected that she did pass from an OD. The reason why this is suspected is multi-part, multifaceted. Number one, she has a very public history. And then she was open when she was alive about her struggles with addiction and specifically alcohol, but she said she became addicted to substances. This is one of the things I want to talk about in my video on my live show today. She became addicted to substances when she wasn't addicted to before. So that she got off of the alcohol, but then she got on to the Klonopin, and that's what they were prescribing her, and she wasn't addicted to that. So we don't know how Hayden passed away. We don't know. We do know she was found in cardiac arrest. We do know they did find Narcan on the scene. We now are getting reports that they used Narcan, and unfortunately they were not able to save her life. Now, if you look up how the brother died, it'll just say, enlarged heart. Where did he pass away? He passed away in New York, specifically where he was living in Rockland County. Okay, so if you go and look up, our
wonder if
Rockland
the internet
County
would work if you
autopsy
can come hang out a little
reports
closer.
public. The AI answer is no, but then when you go to Rockland County inline.gov, you can see that only next of kin
I'm
are
too
allowed
old
to
to
be
fake.
cited or be
I'm
sent
too
these autopsy
old
reports.
to
So
fall.
TLDR, long story short, the public does
I'm
not
too
have
old.
Jansen, the younger brother's autopsy report. So all we really have to go on as far as how he died are public reports. But guess what? Hayden, 3 months before her untimely passing, published a book. I read the whole book yesterday, like I told y'all. So in the book, she describes some, it's not for the faint of heart, but we are investigating, now at this point, I think 2 deaths. It's almost as if Hayden was crying out for an investigation into her brother's death. Here they are as kids. This is a picture from her book. That's Jansen right there. That's Hayden. You can recognize her from the longest, Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights. And as you can see, Jansen, he was precious little child star on his own. There's some newspaper article here on the web. I've started a web just this morning. It's very barren right now. This is the only thing on it right now, but it'll beef up, I'm sure, as we go. But as you can see, in February, he was being reported as having passed away. And at first, February 2023, at first, the cause of death was not known. Sources told the site that law enforcement responded to a call to 30. This is back in 2023. He started on the Disney Channel original series Even Stevens. He starred together on Tiger Cruise with his sister, the Forger, and he also voiced the zebra in Racing Stripes. That's the voice acting he was doing. Also, and his sister was riding zebras in the movie. He also did Blue's Clues. He played Periwinkle. So he was like actually a very prolific child voice actor. He was active on Instagram the days leading up to his death. Her brother, with another article, brother passed away 28. Cause of death remains unclear. No foul play is suspected. And then it came out that the way that he died was this cardiomegaly. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it. But they started writing these newspaper articles talking about the condition, right? The death of actor Jansen Panettiere, brother of hero star Hayden, has put the spotlight on a surprisingly common condition, cardiomegaly. It is with great sorrow. Now, this was a quote. It is with great sorrow we share the tremendous untimely loss of our beautiful Jansen. The family wrote about 3.5 years ago on the topic of Jansen's passing. Quote, though it offers little solace, the medical examiner reported Jansen's sudden passing was due to an enlarged heart coupled with aortic valve complications. Simply put, cardiomegaly is an enlarged heart. It is not a disease itself. It's a heart condition that could lead to or be caused by other health issues. And the most common cause of the condition, coronary artery disease, affects around 18 million people in the U.S. So, coronary artery disease causes this enlarged heart, and then the enlarged heart leads to death. But what causes coronary artery disease? Well, we really don't have to look any further than Harvard Medical School. I do have, Mass General Brigham, which is a Harvard hospital. Let me pull that up. What are some of the causes of this enlarged heart situation that Jansen did appear to die from? Lots of conditions can cause it. Most common is high blood pressure or coronary artery disease, but any condition that makes your heart work harder than normal can cause it. It also can be the result of congenital conditions, something you're born with, and other possible causes include cardiomyopathy, which is heart muscle disease, heart valve disease, anemia, kidney disease, protein fat deposits around the heart, protein or fat deposits around the heart, effects of drug use such as chemotherapy, infections in the heart, recreational drug use, which means personal drug use outside of a medical setting, pregnancy, and sometimes athletes can develop this. Okay, so yes, cardiomegaly can absolutely be caused by a congenital condition or the result of a congenital condition that you're doing. Sure, sure. But it can also be caused by recreational drug use. Now, before y'all say that I'm speaking ill of the dead and I'm slandering this guy by making this type of, speculation, I wanted to show you just a couple words from Hayden Panettiere's book that I spent all day yesterday reading. Okay. Now, again, you've been warned. This is pretty sad because this is the last chapter in her book, by the way, and she's describing the heartbreaking grief. Now, I'll say, and I'm going to talk more about this in my show today when I have my live show on BJC Live Show, but I will say, Hayden Panettiere went through it. From the time she's 8 months old, she was an actress or a model, and it never stopped. I mean, she had near-death experiences. She almost died of childbirth. There was a lot of very extreme trauma that happened to her. Her mom was, I'll save my judgment about her mom right now, but, there was a lot going on for her. So this is the last chapter in what was a horrendously traumatic book. I mean, this morning I woke up still feeling like a cloud of sadness over me from reading this book all in one day. But this part of the book, it's 262 pages. Many of those pages are actually pictures. So this is some of the last pages of Hayden's book, and it was just published 3 months ago. This describes a phone call that she was having with her brother, and it was during a time she had just gotten out of rehab herself for maybe the fourth or fifth time, and she was being called over to her house, her original, hometown by her mom. But Hayden was finally learning boundaries and saying, I cannot come over there and be everybody's savior. I have to keep my own, sobriety and my own mental health first and foremost, or else I'm going to be back in there and I'm not going to be able to help anybody. So this is a call where she's actually talking to her brother, and she says, Jansen, please be straight with me. What's going on? Quote, no judgment. I just spent 8 months living with drug users, she said, myself included. So you're not going to get beep from me. Please tell me, are you taking that Adderall again? They're on the phone, right? He said he had been prescribed Adderall for ADHD, but then he was misusing it. He was taking it, we'll say, in a way that was unprescribed and perhaps by going through the nose. But he stared at the screen on FaceTime, bug-eyed at his sister, because, Hayden had just been in rehab for 8 months, so she knew what behaviors were like. She also knows her brother since his whole life. So he's looking at the FaceTime screen, and he said, look, you and Mom worry too much about me. I'm fine. And Hayden says, be honest. He paused and said, okay, Jesus, you never give up. And he says, I smoked some beef. There, I said it. Hayden said, my stomach hit the floor. This is from her book. You effing what? Did you just say crack? She yelled. How often do you beat crack? He said, don't get mad at me. It's only sometimes. Then he looked down, and Hayden said she could tell he was embarrassed. Jesus, she says to her little brother, I'm not mad at you. I'm just worried. Is there anything else you want to tell me? He got quiet. He said, I also snorted beep a couple times. Hayden said my mind exploded in 1,000 different directions. Crack was an upper, H is a downer, and together they are a lethal combination. I didn't even want to think about the F word, the one that every dealer in America was mixing into their substances, the one that was killing tens of thousands, probably millions of people now a year. Chances were, if Jansen kept getting H from one of his shifty friends, he was going to OD on it. No. Jansen, you cannot do this. Please, Hayden pleaded, seriously, let me help you. He looked back into the screen and he broke into a smile. Okay, I don't think those substances are a good idea. He said, life hasn't been what I expected it to be. Hayden said, I know. She said her heart was breaking for her brother, but we're counting on you. Mom and Dad and I love you more than you can possibly know. He said, thank you for calling. I hear you. I love you. He hung up the phone, and then Hayden said she screamed into a pillow and called her dad right away. Well, a few pages go by, and then we finally end up finding out he's passed away. Dad called again she was getting ready to go back to do a Scream. I think it was
Where is that?
one of the most recent Scream.
Thought I heard a
And she was
notification.
like, actually finally starting to get
BJ
back
investigates.
to
She's
the thing.
gonna find the truth. She's gonna
And
crack
her
the
dad called her,
case
and she's
for
like, I can't
real.
tell their daughter not ignoring it. Her dad called her again, and she's like, oh shoot, if he's calling twice, something's wrong. So she picks the phone up. Hayden, said the dad, there's no easy way to tell you this. Jansen's dead. My boy is dead. Hayden said panic flooded every inch of her body. What did you say? The dad said, oh my God, Jansen is dead. My sweet boy is dead. She said, I heard my dad gasp for breath, put the phone down, my knees buckled under me. This isn't real. It can't be. And of course, my eyes are like watering and welling at this part of the book because this is pretty much exactly how I found out my dad died of a substance overdose. Like, I'm walking around campus. Somebody had been calling me a couple times. I knew it was something serious because this person shouldn't be calling me at all, especially a couple times. So I pick the phone up. I'm walking in a crosswalk, and he just says it like that. Where are you? What's going on? And I just said, what's wrong? I knew something was wrong. He said, your dad is dead. Your dad died. And my knees buckled, and I fell down in the crosswalk in the middle of the street on my campus. Like, I lost control of my leg. I just fell. And so, of course, this is a very heightened part of the book. I'm telling you, I'm still messed up over reading this whole book in one day. She put down the phone, this can't be real. Dad, what happened? She said. It took a moment or two. Dad's voice shook as he started to speak. Jansen had an appointment, supposed to be going to an appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning. He didn't show up for it. Someone called one of his friends, and that friend decided to go over and check on him. This is still a quote from the book. He opened the door and found him. But it was too late. Jansen was already gone. Hayden said, I don't understand. Did he unalive himself? Did he have a heart attack? Did someone break in and unalive him? What do you mean? What actually? How did he die? How? What happened? And this is always, of course, the first question people ask. That's the first question I asked with Amanda Rapp. How did she die? Was it drugs? Was it substances? Was it an attack? Was it a murder? The police don't know yet, baby, said the dad, but there was no evidence of foul play. He was just sitting in a chair with a comforter over his whole body. It was like he had fallen asleep there. Hayden said, my mind started to race in a million directions. I knew better. I knew Jansen, I knew Jansen better than I knew myself. None of this made sense. Jansen never sat in a chair unless he had people over. He always sat on his couch. I thought if he was alone, he sat on the couch. When you're taking substances, and Jansen probably was, you run hot. There's no way in hell he would put a comforter on himself. Dad, I asked, and an eerie sense of calm suddenly washing over me. Was anyone with him last night? Dad sighed. I know, Hayden, I just don't know. She said, does Mom know? No. Dad was crying. If you call her, I can't do it. And so then the book goes on and says, Hayden called the mom. Hayden Panettiere was the one to tell her mother that Hayden's brother and the mother's son was now dead. Very traumatic. Now, this just happened in 2023, but as I was reading the book, and especially that part, I kept thinking back to the circumstances surrounding Hayden's death. At first, it was reported that she too had a heart situation. I'm wondering now. I mean, I have a lot of theories, and it's very early in the investigation. I have a lot of theories based on what I've read. People's stories have changed. People have done interviews. People have not. And I'm going to get into my theories on who I think and what I think. But this video, I just wanted to point out, if you look online, it'll tell you that Hayden's brother died from this enlarged heart thing. Now, it seems as though it wasn't reported that he died from an overdose, but based on Hayden's book that came out 3 years after her brother died, it seemed like she might have been trying not only to tell us that it was an OD, right? If he was alone, and when you're taking drugs, and Jansen probably was, you run hot, there's no way he would need a comforter. She wasn't explicitly saying she suspected foul play, but she did say, was anyone with him last night? Now, this video today is going to be too short for me to put in a speculation on who I think or what I think she might have suspected. And I know that there's been a lot of talk about this Brian Hitchinson guy, the boyfriend that had the domestic violence order on her. He was the one that found her and all that, or was with her, he was taking a nap. I mean, the story has already changed. But please don't forget that this substance use situation that somehow causes some type of heart situation doesn't appear to have only unalived one Panettiere. It appears to now possibly have unalived two. Now, as I showed y'all earlier, the medical examiner reports, the coroner reports, autopsy reports, and all that are not considered to be public record in New York. So we can't get them. We don't know how Jansen died, for sure. Or if it even was that cardio enlarged heart thing. I mean, that's what's been reported. But it could have been the family was just trying not to report, that it was from crack and heroin or something. And then, of course, the larger question becomes, how did two children who grew up in a house that at first was, seemingly totally normal and loving, I mean, they did go through Hollywood, both of them pass away in cardiac arrest or cardiac whatever within 3 years. Hayden wanted to know if anybody was with her brother the night before. And now, I want to know that too. I have a lot more to get into. Make sure you do follow along in my live show today because I will be going into a full investigation of all the things that I found and all my notes that I took of the book. We'll do a summary, a brief synopsis of the book based on my notes, and then we'll get into that. Rest in peace to Hayden and her brother Jansen, and sending thoughts and prayers of peace and comfort to all of those who have lost two very young people at an untimely time. And I cannot shake just the darkness and the heaviness of that book. I cannot shake the darkness and the heaviness of that book. Golly, she suffered. That's all I really have for this one. In the meantime, facts and information, neither are opinions. We'll be waiting for the full report to come out on Hayden's death if we ever get it. And there is an investigation going on into it. So, prayers for all those detectives, too. Everybody's innocent and proven guilty. Love you, Mina Kidon.
The prosecution's expert witness made a big mistake yesterday, and that was certainly a repeat of what happened earlier in the trial with the mortal sin moment. But while the prosecution's witness made an error yesterday, I don't think this one can be blamed on the prosecutors themselves. I'll have more in just a moment. Hi, Tony Wood here. I am a retired Missouri attorney who has now unretired so that I can bring you some commentary on trials and that sort of thing. Because I deal generally with legal topics, I'm not offering any legal advice, and I'm not intending to form any lawyer-client relationships with any of you. I'm simply presenting some information. I am a content creator. I am not currently practicing law, although I do maintain my license in the state of Missouri. This is a trial channel, and today we're discussing a trial. In fact, this is what we're discussing today. This is a recap for our newer viewers. On January 24th, 2023, Lindsay Clancy's 3 young children died in their Duxbury, Massachusetts home. The state says Clancy deliberately planned their deaths and understood what she was doing. The defense acknowledges that she caused deaths, but argues she was suffering from severe postpartum psychosis and was not criminally responsible. The central question is not who caused the deaths, that's known, but whether Clancy was legally responsible when they occurred.
Further evidence that you saw for combined with ultra-psilocybin?
There was. One of the things that she said when asked about what happened is that in the course of strangling each child, she said, "Go to God, baby, go to God." And that was part of her expectation that she and the children would be together in heaven with God. She was raised as a Catholic, and this, as I understand, Catholic considerations, that's not necessarily what happens, but when I asked her about that, when I said, "Is it a mortal sin?" She counselor here.
Psychiatrists testify about psychiatry. They don't testify about theology. So I guess I can understand where he might base some of his action on what her personal theology was. It's relevant to her morality, and that will come into play in the test that Massachusetts uses. But he had not probably been privy to what happened earlier in the week, so he didn't know that mortal sin had brought a pile of bricks down on the prosecutors. Nevertheless, he's the prosecution's witness, and he should have been told to stay away from that. But it's a trial. It's been a long trial. And, I'm not exactly a big fan of the prosecutors, right? They're inelegant, they're unwise, they're arrogant, they certainly don't have a great deal of self-awareness. But you got to give them credit for having hung into a trial as long as they have and not made more errors. And so it is unfair to blame them, but that didn't stop them from getting a rebuke.
So there was no intentional conduct by the Commonwealth. That was not where I intended to go with this questioning, and I don't think that the witness intended to do any harm either. He was just explaining his rationale. So I would ask that the jury be instructed to disregard the answer, and I can speak to the witness and tell him not to talk about that reasoning for behind his thoughts, that he can testify about his conclusions, but to leave that portion of his reasoning out of his testimony.
Well, here's a concern I have, is what the witness didn't say. In regards to go to God, baby, go to God. That was statements that had been made in evidence already. And then he indicated that was part of her expectation. She and the children would be together in heaven with God. All right. Now we're getting a little closer to problematic area. Then he testified she was raised as a Catholic. And as I understand Catholic considerations, that's not necessarily what happens. How is any of that proper at this point? But it was not. I'm not going to declare a mistrial this time. What I am going to do is I'm going to bring the jury in. I'm going to tell them to disregard it. I'm going to tell them that's an inappropriate area of inquiry, and that this witness's understanding of Catholic dogma or Catholic teaching is irrelevant. There's no evidence of his background or training or having been to the seminary or any of that. And so I think, and that's where he ejected that. And so I am giving that, but the Commonwealth, I'm going to strongly, and perhaps the strongest language, talk to him and let him know that he can't go into that. And then my thought is, I'm going to bring the jury back in. I'm going to give them that instruction, and I'm going to send them home. I don't want them leaving here today with the last thing they heard was a discussion about this witness's understanding of the Catholic teaching. That's not the last thing they're going to hear. And so my thought is that, as best I can, is to address that and minimize the damage or prejudice, because I do presume that this jury will be able to follow those instructions. And so that would be my thought. We'll come back. That will give the Commonwealth plenty of time to talk to this witness, to let him know the areas that he should and should not go into. And then we can come back tomorrow, and we can resume his direct examination and cross-examination. All right, so that'd be my thought. We'll bring the jury in. I'll give them that instruction, and then we will recess until tomorrow.
How's it going?
Okay?
Going.
Going good?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a little bit dirty.
Alright,
I'm a
so
little
we
anxious about
reconvene.
that, but
Yeah.
I cleaned it as best as I could.
Yeah, there you go.
So just trying to slap it on there.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Members of the jury, just before we broke, there was some testimony from that last witness. I just want to give you some instructions in regards to that testimony. And I just wanted to let the religion that the defendant was raised with is absolutely an inappropriate area of testimony. It is to be stricken. It is not to be considered. I can't be any more clear than that. It cannot be considered. Second, the witness's understanding of Catholic teachings and considerations, again, is immaterial, it's irrelevant, it is to be disregarded based on that testimony. All right? And so, because we had a little bit of a delay due to this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to excuse you until tomorrow. All right? And so the thought is we'll come in, we'll finish up with this witness. I believe the Commonwealth has another witness at that point. Then we'll talk about where we go. I apologize for any kind of confusion or delay, but I just wanted to make sure you had those instructions with you when you left here today. All right? So, sorry, but so I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
So a rebuke for the prosecutors, in open, well, not in front of the jury, but at least in open court, a rebuke for the prosecutors. You should have told him to stay away from that. A mea culpa by the prosecutor saying, I didn't want to go into that, that wasn't my intent. And I actually believe her. You don't want to get this far into a trial and have somebody throw a monkey wrench into it, because I'm sure they're thinking they're going to get a conviction. And they don't want to see that conviction upset because of something that somebody said off the cuff. And so I don't think that she put him up to that. I think it'd be a really difficult thing to try to prove, even if you could prove it. It'd be hard to prove. And I want to say something else. I've seen a lot of people talk about prosecutorial misconduct. Now, it could be that mortal sin question that came up with regard to Sue Clancy might really have been prosecutorial misconduct. Because, well, I'll have to explain that in the next video, but it could have been. This, like I said, I don't think it could be properly characterized as prosecutorial misconduct. I know there are other creators out there ringing that bell, saying, oh, woe is us, because we had this terrible prosecutor do this terrible thing. Well, it wasn't the prosecutor, it was the witness. And true, the witness should have been schooled beforehand on what he could and could not say, but he wasn't. And as we often say around my house, to keep it clean, feces occur. It's really important to understand what the judge meant when he was talking about he has no background.
I'm going to tell him that's an inappropriate area of inquiry, and that this witness's understanding of Catholic dogma or Catholic teaching is irrelevant. There's no evidence of his background or training or having been to the seminary or any of that.
He's talking about laying a foundation. So if she has said, do you have an understanding of Catholic theology? Oh, well, yes. I actually did comparative religion in college, and one of my papers that I did was on Catholic theology, and I understand it very well. Then you might have had at least a foundation or an opinion about how Catholic theology would work into this. But as I'm going to explain in my next video, there are ways that religion can be used in a criminal trial, and there are ways that it is absolutely forbidden. And the case law on it is pretty good for the Clancy folks, but the results of that case law, in other words, when the issue was raised, the court essentially said, yes, this is wrong, it's impermissible, but other than a couple of isolated examples, for the most part, the convictions were affirmed, because the jury was given an instruction, much the way Judge Sullivan did here. And let me say this, that was a great instruction from the judge. You saw him slapping his hands. That's absolutely no. And you know, when you do that and you make a point of it, the jury should get the impression that, you know, that was below the belt, can't allow that, and you can't consider that in your opinion. Now, does that mean that there's not going to be some juror in there who says, well, I have a background in Catholic theology, and let me tell you what? That would still be inappropriate, but that would be them doing it and not this witness. The long and short of it is, it was a good instruction, and if you have a good jury, the rest of the people on that jury are going to say, whoa, 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 no. Stop that right now. We're not talking about that. Because that's what juries do when somebody essentially breaks the rules or decides not to follow the judge's instructions. It's a really dicey thing to get this far into a trial, whether you're a plaintiff in a civil suit or, you know, just a prosecutor in a criminal case. You don't want to throw all this away. You've spent thousands of dollars getting to this point with your expert witnesses. You don't want to see that thrown away. So that's my thinking with regard to what happened with this particular doctor. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll get to the next video here in just a second. Thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate it. And today, as you go about your business, would you try to do just one kind thing for somebody? It doesn't have to be a big thing. You can open a door for somebody who has their arms full. You could buy somebody a Coke. You could let the manager know when somebody did a really good job for you at the grocery store or at Walmart or someplace else. There are all kinds of things we can do to make people's lives better. A lot of times, people will always remember to go to the manager and complain. Very seldom remember to go to the manager and say, hey, you know, that guy over there in produce is top notch. And I think it's really important to do that because I want to make the world a better place. I know you're here probably because you want to make the world a better place. So let's do that. Now let's be respectful of one another, and thank God we live in the greatest country in the free world. I do think that the good folks with YouTube have a few things they want to show you up here that you might be interested in, and if you are, I'd appreciate you clicking. Thanks. Have a great day.
The state says it does have the footage, but it refuses to release it because it says release it because it is. Anyway, this is him showing us what it looks like in that place. Again, you know.
Alright, we're here at the Washington County Sheriff's where Tyler Hobson turned himself in, accompanied by Mike Mitchell, retired sheriff, and his parents last year, September the 11th, 2025, the day after Troy Kirk was assassinated. Mapping out the cameras, there's one right here that was caught then. As they brought him in, what vehicle they were in, what time they came. Also, as we saw, two more cameras inside the sheriff's office.
I knew it. As soon as I was like, I'm not gonna lay the paper down because if I do, the wind's gonna blow, and then the wind hasn't blown once. Just put the paper down. Wind is blow. That's how it works. God's got to keep you on your toes. Can't let you get comfortable, or you might get lazy.
And on top of that, I don't believe him. That's what I don't believe him. I don't believe he can prove that he's wrong about these cameras. Because he's showing them. That's the thing. He's already done the research into what they are,
the reason I'm tapping the wood is because the wood is so porous. It's like snaggy. So packing it in and then going over it. This is oil. It's not stain. It's not whatever it's called. I don't know. It's oil. It's oil. It absorbs into the wood. Like that child, only the lonely can play. Hello, my love.
What's going on here? I know it's the sheriff symbol.
I've somehow made my drink taste like pickle brine.
What's happening here? I don't know. Okay. All right. Little on the nose there. Little on the nose there, Utah. That was a little bit much. That was a little much, Utah. I don't know. I don't really know what that was. Someone said Jeffrey designed that building. Jeffrey designed that building. 2 weeks after they said he passed away, he went to design that building. This is classic Utah. That's just classic Utah. No? What? I caught that yesterday. I was like, what is that? Like, that's a weird thing on the roof like that, and it's a hole. I was like, this is a little odd. What is that? That's an odd skylight. A skylight? I've never seen a skylight look like that. But this is the diligent. That's crazy. That's not even a skylight. This is black. That's weird. I'm just saying. That's weird. This is a weird design. If it was on a wall, it wouldn't even be as weird. But he's saying there's cameras there. He's saying that these cameras should be able to catch him. Should be able to catch what happened with Tyler Robinson. We were all under the mindset that there was only one camera that could catch Tyler as he was turning himself in, as they say, and apparently there are more. So they say they don't have the footage because one camera was off. I believe that was the story, that the camera was off at the time. That means there would be 3 cameras on. Okay. Weird. Very weird. What else we have from Diligent? Oh no, we have something else from Diligent as well. Check this out. Check this out. Shout out to Diligent Dennison. According to Tyler Robinson's family, Tyler told his parents he did not off Charlie. Tyler never confessed to anyone. Tyler's parents were with him at the Washington County Sheriff in the afternoon on the 11th, and his phone was taken immediately. How'd he send this for? Now, Barron has already touched on that in terms of when he was Mirandized. I don't know about you, but from Barron, that's when I learned the word Mirandized. I have not heard it used so many times ever. But Diligent Dennison also obtained these text messages. I don't know how this works or what family member he was talking to. Yeah, I have to check. I should actually message him. Or maybe he's already posted it. I want to know who that person was that he was. I want to know who that person was he was talking about. The family member. I don't know if you guys didn't see the episode. There was a family member that he had. It looked like Tyler's grandmother. He was inside of her house. So I'm just wondering about that. Anyway, there's text messages right here. Diligent, of course, has music over it. Of course, I don't even have to ask the question. Of course there is. This person is saying, I assume it's Diligent, maybe not. So, just to be clear, Tyler told his dad, Matt, that he did not off Charlie Kirk.
I think it's going through the gloves. It's like melting the gloves.
Then this person says,
Because it's oil
Tyler's
based.
parents think he offed
How do you make
Charlie?
this work?
They say no. Then the question
Just
says
stay
here,
open.
another question is, did the parents call the bishop because they thought Tyler was guilty or out of fear for his safety? Then the person simply says safety. That's just the first part. Let's keep going. So that's that. Let's see here. See if there's any other text messages.
Wow, that looks really good. Look at how dark it looks.
Okay. When they called the bishop, did they tell him that
It's that time of the year where it's freezing cold in the mornings and hot as balls in the evening.
So
What is that?
time the retired sheriff came and picked up Tyler and his parents was on September. Oh, sorry. So Tyler never told his
Oh, my gloves are in there.
bishop or the sheriff who gave them a ride that he offed Charlie Kirk. This person says that is correct. This is very interesting, man. If that's actually Tyler Robinson's family member, I don't know why people aren't talking about this. It seems like Diligent does a lot of work that people don't talk about as much as I think they should. But who am I? I can only just do this in front of you guys. Very weird. Who is the family member? What is going on? Now, obviously, this is the same stuff that Candace was saying. So maybe Diligent is talking to the same person. Maybe this is another person. It would be better if it was another person completely. It would be a lot better. Two different people giving the same story. But this is crazy. This stuff. Nobody's talking about this.
There, that's
Nobody was
better.
like, oh my gosh, and look what you just
Is the internet working okay?
Everybody's just kind of like, okay. It's
Oh, guys, make sure you're clicking in that top corner and clicking the XP. It gives you like money basically, and then you can gift creators, other live streamers for free. Like you don't have to put money in your account or put money on the shit at all. It'll just give you free money, free gems to give people, and then you'll get more hype. You'll get more hype points, so then you can hype up people's videos, more people's videos.
No, it seems like he's trying to give evidence in the meeting with an attorney to deliver potential evidence in the Tyler Robinson case. Huh. Wow. Well, pray nothing happens to this guy. Jeez. I have to watch some of this guy's live stream stuff a lot more. Then he also had this. He said, if I told you that this was one of Lance Twig's gaming buddies, would you believe me? If I told you this gaming buddy was facing life in prison 5 months before Charlie Kirk was offed and got just 3 years probation right after what happened to Charlie, would you believe it? Whoa, really? See what I mean? Like, he has a lot of stuff. So apparently he is saying that this is Lance's gaming buddy. And this is what his profile looks like, a gaming profile that he has, which is a little on the nose. Mr. Richugo would be like, tone it down. Tell him to tone it down. Tell him to tone that down. It says he's calling Phoebe. Hey, tell him to tone it down. Okay, it's too much. Not even slightly. I need someone to teach me how to see who friends follows and follow on Roblox. This guy's been playing Roblox. Remember they in their 20s? Wasn't this guy like in his late 20s, mid 20s, playing Roblox? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, the force is strong with this one. Yeah, right? It's crazy. This is a bit much. This is a bit much, man. Look down here, look down there on the screen. This is a little crazy, buddy. Got a little too much going on here. Currently wearing, so he wears all those things? Very weird. Very weird. Yeah, I've heard all the bad things about Roblox. I don't advise anybody with kids to keep playing that game. It's crazy. But either way, that is what Diligent has been showing us as of yet. Nobody has really commented on it. So, not sure what to make of that, honestly. Let's go over here. Let me just write down this. 3 hours, 30 minutes. There we go. No, I'm not signaling 33. I just gotta write down the timestamp. Okay. Anyway, let's get into something more important. Okay. Lady Gaga has a new biotech startup called Outer Bio that uses donated human skin that would otherwise be thrown thrown away after surgeries. The tissue is kept alive in a lab where scientists test.
Okay, so they're harvesting our body parts now. Of course Lady Gaga thought of that.
Those results are then used to train AI better to predict new compounds that are most likely to be safe and effective. The goal is to reduce animal testing, accelerate the discovery of new skincare ingredients, and advance research into skin diseases.
I'm not getting enough
Fine.
fetal tissue.
Whatever, man. Whatever. It's not even the worst thing going on right now. Whatever. Fine. That's how it's gonna be. Then in the great words of Jack Posobiec, if that's how it's going to be, then that's how it's going to be. I don't know what else to say anymore, guys. Fine. That's what she's doing. That's what she's doing. Are you guys gonna throw away all that skin? Huh? What? Yeah, we put it in this. What? Why are you even in here? We just wondering what you're gonna do with all that skin. We could just borrow it for research. Security, Lady Gaga's here with someone. They're asking for skin. Oh my god. Probably $1 billion industry, let me tell you something. Probably $1 billion industry, fine. You know? I mean, you know? It's fine. Like, you know. I hope this is fake. And that's all I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this is not real. And it's just a fake thing. That's what I'm hoping. But the more I look into things like that, and I'm like, oh well maybe this is fake. And it just seems like every time it's just like, nope, not fake. This is real, that's real, that's real. Over and over again. I go, well, that has to be fake. And time after time, they just things keep popping up saying, nope, not fake, not fake. I mean, there you go. Bioscientist is a biotech startup co-founded by Lady Gaga and Michael Polinsky that utilizes living human skin tissue to discover new cosmetic ingredients to study skin biology. Company sources
Oh, but it's ethically sourced.
de-identified skin samples, primarily from plastic surgery leftovers.
Gross. Oh my god, plastic surgery leftovers. What? Are you fucking serious right now? What?
Oh, the fact that they call them leftovers. Oh, God.
But we're just throwing it away. We could be making so much
Can we have
money
the
off of it.
leftovers? What? What are you guys doing? We're doing? Can we have the leftovers? You just did a BBL and a tummy tuck? We're just wondering if we
Oh
can have
my
the
god,
leftovers.
dude. Maybe it'll stop them from kidnapping our children if we let them do that, though.
And the people who do plastic surgery, I mean, those
If we
guys-
just let the elites
those guys
take
are
our
people. Anyway,
fucking...
you see what they do with people's faces,
our
right? What did
flesh
Bill Burr say back
from...
in the day? He said he makes-
That could be our sacrifice. They would consider it a
Those guys
sacrifice.
don't care about anything. So
Us
those guys
giving
say,
a
"How
part
much
of
you pay for
ourselves."
these leftovers? You know, there's a whole batch of them. You want these leftovers? Huh? What are you guys willing to pay for these? These are some good leftovers I got here. Huh? This is actually amazing. Black girls taste the best. Anyway, what do you guys want to do with these leftovers? Do you need black or do you need white? I got pretty much both. I keep them all in that drum. I've been keeping them for a while, just for my own thing. I don't really want to get into it. But if you guys want some, you can have some. You can have some. Just disgusting. Oh my god. It's just the worst. The worst. Yeah, someone said any relation of Roman Polanski. I don't know. Here, well, we're already in here. Let's ask him.
We live in hell.
Let's see. Let's ask. Is he related to Polanski? that's terrible. If he is, that's terrible. That's just the worst thing ever. I hope not. Is he? Is Michael Polanski Roman Polanski's son?
Yes.
That's what he's searching for. I didn't even say that. I said, is he related to Roman Polanski? He's doing something here. No, he's not related to Roman Polanski. They have similar names, both Polish ancestry. Okay. So they're not related. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe this thing just doesn't know whether or not they're related, honestly. Because they seem to have the same type of
Interest.
taste. You know? The same type of weird taste. Well, what did you do? Why don't you ever come back to America? Oh, well, there's this thing I did, and I don't know. I don't know, I've gotten tired of America, so I just stay elsewhere. What do you do? Well, I like to gather up human skin, and I test it. I test certain things on it. I like to buy human skin and rub blush samples on it. What? I like to buy human skin and put lipstick on it. What? I just put lipstick on it. It sounds insane. It's crazy this is a real thing. Of course, Lady Gaga's. Funny enough, you know, not related to Roman Polanski, but Lady Gaga has an alter ego, something inside of her that is called Roman. And this alter ego comes out when she's performing. She says it's called Roman. She often will, there's times where she's dressed like a guy, and she just calls herself Roman. Nicki Minaj has the same thing. Roman. Pretty. She's something else. She's odd. But there you have it, guys. I figured I'd just bring that to you as a little, as a palate cleanser, going into the other subjects. Oh my gosh. So funny, so funny. This person yesterday, I got what they were doing with Andrew's text messages and their own text messages. She said that in Telegram you can change the sizes, so that's what she's thinking. So she is like retracting this research. She's like, I don't know, it was more of a, you can change the sizes, and maybe that's why there's this whole mix-up with text sizes. So that was interesting. She reached out to me. She's like, oh no, she felt so bad. I'm like, no, I don't care. Who cares? I'm like, I'm just exploring theories. Don't worry about it. I didn't exactly think you were right anyway. And I just thought it was a thing that we should cover and look into a little bit. But no one has been able to explain away the crookedness of the actual text messages unless Andrew received a picture of a picture. That is the only thing that makes sense. That came to my mind last night, is that someone could have took a picture of it and then been crooked with it. I don't know. Other than that, I have no idea. I'm sure someone can explain that way as well. What I just said. Anyways. Yeah. Somebody can bring it up though. Why are you bringing up that skin? Why are you bringing up that skin so much? Jeez. So weird. Like we get it. Okay? This is not a brisk, okay? We're not at a brisk right now. You don't have to keep on bringing up that type of skin. Don't worry. You know what I mean?
It's a Briz. B-R-I-S.
Let's get into this very weird. Very weird stuff from this Lindsay character. I don't know much about her. Oh, and I didn't realize she was paralyzed. I was like, oh my gosh. She jumped out a window? I was shocked by that. I was like, are you for real? Jumped out a window. Paralyzed herself, apparently. A lot of people think my husband did it. Let me just call that segment Skin Company. That's what we'll call that segment that we just did. Skin Company. How about that? Someone said another Helen Keller. Come on. How dare you? I'm talking about Lindsay here. Monster to most, hero to some, apparently. But I really like this guy. This guy, I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's like Exby or something. I I've seen this guy many times on TikTok. I've seen him on Instagram. I've mostly seen him on Instagram. And he has a great way of like breaking down stories. And this is his take on why people think that Lindsay's husband did it. So he's just a great storyteller. I don't know how to say this name. It's like Xv, or Xiv. But jump in. I don't know why. I feel like she's faking it. The paralyzation? Oh my god. You think she's faking being paralyzed? I don't know why that's so funny. Like, how do you prove it? You know? How do you prove it? What do you do? The worst, the only thing you can do is push her over. And that's bad. You gotta be real sure of yourself. You gotta be real sure of yourself if you're gonna push her over. You gotta be like, you gotta really know what's going on. Because you're gonna do it in front of a lot of people. A lot of people are gonna be upset that you did that. The only thing you can pray for is that she stands up and she's like, hey, what the heck, man? What's the matter with you? Get up, I know you can. I know you can. What do you mean hands behind my back? What do you mean? No, come on, get up. Show everybody. Go to jail, sir. Go to jail, sir. You know? Or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe you won't go to jail. Maybe so many people don't like her that the people will just be like, hooray! I'm glad someone did it already. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be a torn crowd. Anyway, let's jump into this guy's telling of this whole thing.
For help. The prosecution is saying, we agree, defense, we're all in agreement that she's 3 kids, but we think she did it on purpose. We think the mental health system has nothing to do with it. We think she just wanted the 3 kids. Okay, so
I know who this video is just by the sound.
And what happened in the situation, again, briefly, is her husband at the time, Patrick, went to go get food and medicine from CVS, and
I knew it.
He comes back, and Lindsay is outside on the floor, and she said she tried to herself, said she was paralyzed from the waist down. For how she tried to do it, she jumped from like a high place, and then she told him that 3 kids are in the basement. He went to the basement, he found 3 kids, called the police, okay? And then again, they go to trial, okay? And they're in the middle of trial right now. And, many people are split between this case for multiple reasons. The main question is, can you blame Lindsay Clancy for what happened? Can you say it was all her fault and she should full on go to jail for the 3 kids, even though she was, basically screaming out, I'm a danger. Like, there's a, I'm really depressed. I feel like to myself, like, and the system isn't, they just give pills and they're just like, quite, these 13 different prescriptions at one point. So, side note, we also have a system, maybe the mental health system for the way they went about treating her. Now, so yeah, the question is whether you believe it is her fault. And also, there's other questions as to whether, people are saying whether Lindsay did it at all. Because Patrick, her husband at the time, came out with his rendition of what happened. And people noticed the inconsistencies in the story, or his story. And not so much inconsistencies, but the question popped up in his story. Because I need you to listen to these times very closely, because that's going to be a big part of this video here. So,
his energy is so low. Whenever you see him on Instagram, his energy's never like that.
I was just thinking the same
No matter
thing.
what he's talking about. I was hoping for that type of energy in this video. Hold on a second. And of course, it's the Dave Instagram stuff. Of course it is. Of course it is. If he's talking about this on Instagram, the shift in energy that you are going to see is going to be so crazy dramatic. It's just such a shift in his energy, you won't even understand how it's the same person. Let me see here. Let's see what he has to say here.
You see, Lindsay Clancy has a problem. She's currently Lindsay Clancy has a problem. She's currently on trial for premeditatively killing her 3 kids. Now, the word premeditatively is a key word here. It basically means she thought about it, she planned it, she did it. The defense said that's a damn lie. She did it. She just didn't plan.
You see how different this is? You see how different it is? Wow. Dramatically different.
And to do it, she was going through psychosis at the time. See, this case is a little more complicated than it may seem, but first, we gotta understand what happened. You see, one day, Patrick, who was Lindsay's husband at the time, was working from home. After he finished working, he said, "Look, Lindsay, we don't got time to cook, so you want me to go pick something up?" Lindsay said, "Yes, absolutely." So as Patrick's leaving, Lindsay texts him at 5:15 p.m. Remember that time. "One of our 3 kids needs medicine from the CVS. Can you pick it up on your way to get food?" He said, "Bet." So Patrick goes to the CVS, picks up the medicine for the kids, calls Lindsay, says, "Hey, is this the right thing?" She says, "Yeah." He goes to the restaurant, picks up the food, drives home. When he gets to his house, this is a model of his house, by the way. Everything was quiet. He said that's a little weird, so he starts calling out to everybody, his kids and Lindsay. Nobody answered. Eventually, he finds Lindsay outside on the floor. He asked her what happened. She said she tried to herself. He said, "Okay, where are the kids?" She said they're in the basement. So Patrick goes to the basement and finds the 3 kids. Calls the police. Police pull up. Everyone is in agreement of what happened. Patrick said, "That happened." Lindsay said, "That did happen." Prosecutor said, "That happened." Police said, "That happened." Lindsay's defense said, "Yeah, everything Patrick said happened." People are even in agreement about what happened before the took place. Lindsay said, "I was very, very depressed. I was experiencing psychosis. I was seeking help from mental health professionals, from everyone around." Patrick said, "She was. She absolutely was." Her defense said, "Yes, she was." The mental health professionals come out and said, Yeah. She called me. We prescribed her this. She was absolutely seeking help." Everyone's in agreement with that. But the twist is the defense is saying, "Well, you see that she was seeking all of this help. That's why she was experiencing a lot of mental health issues." And the prosecution is saying, No. That's just an excuse. She the kids because she wanted to. Now, you know what happened? Here's what things. I'm going to give you facts. You got to get to the nitty-gritty. First fact, Lindsay, when she tried to herself, it involved her jumping from a high place. She's paralyzed from the waist down because the defense said, "You see that she tried to cut herself for real. She really had mental health issues." Prosecution said, "I don't know. She was getting help. Like, what y'all mean? This right here is one of the people that was helping her." The defense said, "Well, then you brought this person up because the help she was getting is actually the problem." The defense goes to the psychiatrist. I forgot her name. The defense said, "Okay, all the stuff he was giving her, like, was it working?" She said, "I mean, nah, it was working on it. It wasn't quite so good thing you needed stuff for it." That was the psychiatrist's argument with the defense. And it was really intense. He was down here cussing her out, talking about, "I found a mistake. I'm like, hey, what's going on with that?" She said, "You're trying to make it seem like I'm stupid. It was just like a typo." And I said, "A typo? Ooh, she said, "You treated me." The judge had to come in and say, "Hey, I gotta chill. Not in my courtroom. The defense said, "Also, you make a typo. You prescribe her whatever, this and that. We just give her whatever. Matter of fact, give me another psychiatrist. Next psychiatrist, pull up." Next psychiatrist, pull up. The defense said, "What was you prescribing her? This, that, and the third?" Next psychiatrist, he started calling psychiatrists out. Turns out she had like 13 prescriptions. Another psychiatrist pulled up and said, "Yeah, she did pull up and say she wanted her." She said it was getting real bad. The defense said, "Okay, so what did y'all do?" I was like, "Well, I didn't do anything." The defense said, "Excuse me?" And they said, "Yeah, the rules state that you gotta have a plan about something so we can actually commit you to something. But you know, I sent her some resources." And the defense said, "Where the resources you sent her?" You know what? I actually didn't send her resources. So you probably see where Lindsay's defense is coming from. They're saying, "Look, the mental health system failed her." In fact, Lindsay and her defense separate civil case where they're suing many people in the mental health system. The prosecution is saying, "Nah, that still would not go over to her kid. That part she did on purpose. She might have mental health issues, but not bad enough that she did that on purpose." You can see by the text she's sending people, like she's seeing that she was sound of mind. Like,
Don't you? Isn't this like 2 separate things? Like, don't you still go to jail for whatever's supposed to happen if you do something, and then there's another side where you're trying to do some stuff? Isn't that how that works? I don't know. I figure that's how that works. I don't know. You guys have seen me do this with Turning Point many times, where I just go, if that was me taking out SD card, they put me in jail. And I think I'd be in jail too. I think there'd be no discussion if this was me. I think they'd just put me in jail. I think they would do the same thing to you. I don't think there would be, or maybe not. I don't know. She seems regular. And somebody look into her family and it's like, oh, her family's like related to that child's
Pretty sure that
family.
he just landed in my hair.
You know? Oh, her grandfather is a 33-degree basement. Oh my God, she was a Mormon from Utah, and he's, oh my gosh. That's usually how it turns out. But yeah, I don't know. Seems like two different cases. Like, wouldn't you discuss that other thing after? Couldn't the judge be like, listen, you can sue all those people after. We're just gonna get you in jail really quick. We're just gonna put you in jail really quick, and we're just gonna go with this first, and then all that other stuff you can bring in that case after. We can go ahead and cover that after. Isn't that how that works? I don't understand. It's very weird. So, I guess a lot of people are saying she's innocent because of the mental health thing. I don't know if it works that way. Isn't that what I'm pretty sure that's what they do.
It's a psyop to get men and women fighting against each other on the internet.
I think he tried to say that too.
They're trying to do
Pretty
men
sure
v
there's
women
people
right
talking
now.
about saying that the agency put something in his brain that made him do it. I don't know if you guys ever heard that.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, now he's talking. This is
So
what
he's
I was
saying he's not
thinking.
responsible for what happened to that girl, and they didn't buy that at all. They were like, "You're going to jail, good sir. Goodbye." So I think she's going to jail, guys. I don't know who's on her side or not on her side. I think she's going to jail, and I think if there's any penalty, they're probably going to do that too. The penalty. They're probably going to end up doing that. Maybe not. I don't know. Pretty crazy. I don't get it. This whole thing is very disturbing, very wild. Again, I'm not going to say she's off the hook, but when I see stuff like this, I maybe as a Christian, even when I wasn't a Christian, when I would see stuff like this, I'd be like, oh, it's demons. I was, even when I was like all New Age, I was like, no, we're demons around all the time. Like, they're always doing things. That's what that seems. That seems insane. Seems insane. And again, we talk about the world, and the world is always trying to handle things in the worldly way when it's a spiritual thing that's afoot. They're always trying to do that, and that's what we're all taught to do. We're not taught to handle things in a spiritual sense when there's something really wicked happening or being put upon us or acting through us. We're just taught to ignore that part and handle it this way, and then she ends up with 13 prescriptions. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts. That's what Lindsay Clancy probably said. And then people think the husband did it because the husband left at a certain time, and the CVS was 7 minutes away, or maybe 4 minutes away. But for some reason, the cameras didn't catch him there until like 20 minutes later. And then when they asked him why he didn't, like what happened, he was like, oh, I don't know. He's like, I might have stayed in my car, might have not. And then I saw some other girl. I didn't save the video. I saw some other girl posting, and she was showing the fact that he's already with another lady, and the lady looks like Lindsay.
And the lady works for a biochemistry company who makes a drug called Egalis that just so happens to cause psychosis.
I mean, we've talked about this before.
That's pretty interesting.
History and recent history, breathing in very odd ways makes them very suspect. How about that? That's how people feel when they don't see people breathe in proper ways. So if he's already with someone, apparently. That lady's gonna go to jail. Sorry if some people don't like that. She's going to jail. Of course she's going to jail. What are we talking about? She's not gonna go to jail? Oh, that's insane. She's going to jail. Everyone agrees differently. I know. Right? Sparklers sometimes they have the event scent in the naked. Yeah, everybody does it differently. Anyway, that case, the people who are talking about the husband, I would love to hear more about that, but I haven't seen all that much. What I really am concerned with is why are all you guys acting like this? Can I just ask you guys? There's 3,700 people here. Why do you guys all act like you listen to Dolly Parton music? And rest in peace to Dolly Parton. She actually did that. Somebody said they're see it. Yeah, she's gone. She's gone. At 80 years old. Just 4 days after saying, I still have so many things I want to achieve. Well, that's what people say. It's fine. literally, if you look at Dolly Parton's life, I don't know if you guys know anything about it. It's pretty crazy, but she did everything that she possible, and every single thing she possible, and she stayed a bombshell through the entire thing. I mean, there's nothing else you could really ask her. What else could you really ask her? She did it. She did it like when today, just now. She did it like Betty White. Is it Betty White? The lady that was almost 100 years old. She did it like her. She's been doing music for 60 years. Probably more. Probably almost 70 years she's been doing music. She did it. She's been in movies. She's been acting. She's done music. She's done music. She's done music. She's collabed with all sorts of people you could possibly think of. She did it. She did every single thing possible. Wasn't caught up in any crazy scandals. There was no crazy scandals. There was no recordings of her being like, let me tell you about these N-words. None of that stuff. You know, she came up in a different time where the famous people were recluse and didn't know too much about them. So, you know, she did everything. She did everything. You know. Some people pass it. Man, they didn't get to do it. They didn't get to do the things. And other people pass in your life. Oh, you did everything. Your past is way well lived. You know, she's not gonna get to heaven and God be like, man, you didn't do it. Why you didn't do all the stuff? She's gonna get to heaven and God's gonna be like, that was alright. That was alright. You made some great songs. Jesus is back there playing right now. Go check it out. She's heaven now. I look at death a lot differently now. I guess it's because of Christianity. And she was also one of those people where she wasn't like, everything's gonna go gray when I pass away. Everything goes black and there's no spirit. She wasn't like that. She actually had faith. So she had faith. You know, she lived an incredible life. I think she leaves behind some children and grandchildren, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully she passed away around the family. That's the only thing that I would worry about. Whenever I hear about people passing away, like George Carlin so sadly passed away just like in a hotel room. You know, he was just old. He was just old and he just in a hotel room because he was just on tour. You know, I just hope that's not how she passed away.
That's how Tom Segura is gonna go
That's
because he threw his family away.
that's when that happens. My dad passed away by himself. It's all sad. On Tuesday, she died peacefully on Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee at the age of 80. Her nephew announced her passing via video on Instagram, noting that she had been dealing with health challenges and had previously canceled performances to undergo medical procedures. Specific cause of death was not provided by her family or publicist, though she had disclosed ongoing issues with her immune and digestive system and recent treatment for kidney stones. Well, again, passed away peacefully. I mean, when you think about it, I think about this all the time with passing away. It's like, best case scenario is pass away with your kids around you, upset, and hopefully your grandkids and everyone that loves you are just upset. That's the best case. That's the best case scenario. And it is the best thing. You know? It really is. It just sucks because we want to stay here so bad because it's all we know. It's all we think we know. Right? So when we hear someone leave, it's sad. But in reality, it's probably absolutely incredible. It is probably incredible to experience what it's all really about. You know, I always talk about this near-death experience that this guy had when I was like looking into. I actually interviewed a hospice nurse, and there's this guy who has this experience, near-death experience. She didn't tell me this, but I was just researching it as I was researching things she was talking about, and he had a near-death experience. This tunnel, right, to the light, and he was seeing all these things beside him, and he was really scared, and then all of a sudden it wore off, and he started thinking about his life. This is what he said. He started thinking about his life, And the thing that came to him was, I can't believe I thought I was that person all that time. That's what came to his mind. That was the thought he was having. Because he started realizing that he's not that person, and he's actually this like energy that's like moving through his spirit, soul. And then he gets to a place where it's almost like he's in transition, and a bunch of people come up to him, and they're like, "Do you remember us?" And they're kind of like giddy and laughing. They're like, "Do you remember us?" Like, and they're like looking at each other like, "Guys, he doesn't remember us." Whoa. And he's like kind of remembering them, but he doesn't really remember them. I don't know. And then also he said some other big person came. Right? They were like this big, like they were kind of glitching in and out entity. And he was like, "Do you want to sit and talk about what you just went through? Like everything?" And he was like, yeah, I'd like to talk about it. And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Let's sit and talk about it." And he was just talking about it and everything. And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Listen, you have to go back. So you're actually you're not passing away." And he said, as he was having the conversation, he started remembering everything. And those people that came up to him were like his brother, family. And he's like, "I don't want to leave and go back to that place." He's like, "I'm here." He's like, "I can just stay." He's like, "My family will be fine." And whatever this person was, this angel, was like, "No, you have to go back. There's still more for you to do." And he was like, "No." And the thing was kind of just like, "You're going back." And then it kind of like glitched and everything. And then he woke up. And that was a crazy near-death experience to hear about. Very, very weird. Very weird stuff. And I always think about it. I think of that, I think of heaven, I think of Christ, and I think of the reward that was given. Rest in peace to his friend who had passed away. And Barry kept saying he's going to get his reward. Right? And that's the reward of eternal life. You have faith, you give your life to Christ, all your days, and there is a reward of eternal life that's promised. And it's through the fact that you have this eternal soul inside you. And you don't taint it, and you don't sell it, you don't dip it in baby oil or anything
I
like
cannot
that.
call her right now. I'll call her when I get out of here.
That has been the thing that comforts me more and more as I think about passing, about
I'm having a hard time with Elliot too.
parents, because we're at that age where parents start to go.
Elliot is really giving us grief
It's interesting.
lately. The last few days,
I'm
it's
not
been pretty
afraid of
bad.
it as I used to be. I used to be really afraid of it. Really afraid of it.
I won't.
But now when I hear it, I'm like, man, they get to see the other side.
She's been on my mind anyway, so it's already been in my
I'm so baffled.
in my
I think it just goes back. I know
in the back of my head cooking.
I know a few people that think that way. But like when you die, it just goes black. And it's like, you know, like you don't know what you're talking about.
Remind her to contact me.
Tens of thousands
Also,
of years.
let her know I'm having a hard time with Elliot, and
every single
we can
possible
commiserate.
religion and belief system, and you think that's actually what
so
happened.
then she feels more comfortable reaching out, or when I reach out or whatever, more like her idea.
Dolly Parton, rest in peace. Rest in peace. So she's okay. I hope her family's okay. That's the real thing to think about. When you think about this notion of that, like how people pass and everything, that's the real thing to think about, is the people afterwards. And that's our real worry. When you think, well, there's a fear to it as well, because it's the unknown. But I mean, that's the real thing. People who are going to mourn you. You've watched the movie your whole lives.
Should have done the back first, damn it, Heather.
Well, you do have to say, I hope she's okay. I don't actually know her. I know that she had faith just from seeing her, right? There is a worry when someone passes away. Again, right? Again, someone just said that in the comments because you think when you die it's over, and it's not. There is a whole continuation that goes on for eternity. So yeah, hope they're okay. They are transitioning. The same way you look at Alan Watts talks about this. I'm going to get into some Hayden stuff really quick. But Alan Watts talks about this. Oh, I actually have to get the sequels. It's already 4 hours in. Alan Watts talks about this. He goes, where were you before you were born? He's trying to like kind of ration to people like what happened when you pass away. He goes, can you remember where you were before you were born? He's like, okay. He's like, well, in death, that's the same thing that's going to happen. Like you're just passing through. Like you just, and like a lot of people don't get that. You're just passing through. You don't remember where you were before you were born, but you were obviously something. Were you just turned on? Like That's it? That's how it works? No. You were somewhere, and you came here, right? That's why, what does God say in the Bible? I'm going to butcher it. I'm sure some of you know. I already knew you in the womb. I already knew you. How do you already know you? You're being stitched together. How do you already know you? Because he made you before that point. You know? Anyway, you know. Let's go here. Yeah, I want to go through the hate and stuff. Yeah, no, I just don't have time today. We'll get to it though. Before you were formed, there you go. So much. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Exactly. Yeah, it's you gotta think about it. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. There's two things that every religion and faith can believe in. Is that there's an afterlife, okay? There's two things that a massive amount of people can agree on. There's only two things. Is that there's some kind of afterlife, right? And that none of us are allowed to go to Antarctica. I don't know why. There's those two things have been agreed on by masses and masses of people. That there's an afterlife and that we're not allowed to step foot into Antarctica. We're not allowed to go where the research is and all these different things. We're only allowed to go to one little place in Antarctica. We're not allowed to venture out. It's hilarious. Anyway. I always think about it. You know, no, I have theories. No, I'm gonna say it. I have theories about it. A lot of theories about it. Let's get into these supers, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming to the channel. I can say what I'm saying and not pay another creator to say it for me. Thank you again for the encouragement to step and be more. Oh man, that's great. That's great. It's great that it's you because you seem well spoken. You seem to have some good theories on your mind. So that's good. It's almost like Antarctica. Absolutely. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You see what I mean? Yeah, good for you, man. Good for you. Start it. Do it. Let me know when you get it up. When you get the channel. When you get a video up. Roadblock has a lot of child stuff. People. Yeah. There's a lot. There was a guy that was covering all of this, and he got in trouble for something. He was exposing. He was basically being like digital Chris. He would go into the digital.
Him and Chris Hansen got together and they blocked Chris Hansen's account live on television.
Hundreds, maybe even thousands of people were engaging in disgusting behaviors in the Roblox world because it's like there's different, I don't know if they're called worlds or rooms or what, clubs, I don't know. But there is gross people all over it, like a crazy amount. So, for some reason, he got in trouble when he exposed it. I think they banned him or something like that. Really?
His name is Schlepp.
I don't know the guy's name, but I think he was on. I'm pretty sure he was on Sean Ryan's podcast. I'm pretty sure he was on Sean Ryan's podcast, and they just got rid of him. Roblox. They got rid of him. Very weird stuff. Anyway, I do know about that. It's life in prison versus life in a psych ward. I don't know which one's worse. Life in prison versus life in a psych ward. Whew. You know, because if you're in some place for life, you eventually want to have conversation. Like imagine you're not crazy, right? And for the rest of your life, you have to have conversations with crazy people. And the people who are there running things, they think you're crazy. So they don't talk to you like regular people. At least if you're in prison, you can have actual conversations with people. You can talk with people. Hey, you can have back and forth. You're in a psych ward. Oh my gosh. Then eventually you'll become crazy. You'll be like Brad Pitt. What movie was
I don't
that?
know, yeah, I wouldn't want to do psych ward over prison. I think that I would rather go to prison if that was the case. But
Dolly's
I don't know.
dead.
I would never do what she did.
Beautiful, but why? Was she? Oh. See, that's like when Chuck Norris passed away. People were like, Chuck Norris was a Zio Ranger. I'm like, oh, don't tell me anything about Chuck Norris, man. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, man. This one.
Yeah, Chuck Norris was a Zio Ranger.
I've been in a near-death experience twice. It's real. There you go. A lot of people have interesting stories. My friend had one as well. My good friend, who actually is saved now. He's Orthodox Christian. He had a very interesting one. Nancy makes there. She was about to drop some knowledge on you guys. He had a very interesting one. He was in a crazy car crash where a car came and just rear-steered. So he's coming this way. This car's going this way. He goes over the island and just comes right at him. Just like nothing you can do. Nothing you did wrong or anything. And he says as it was happening, it was like slow motion. He was just looking at it happening. He knew it was happening. It was crazy. And then he had this weird near-death experience where while everything was happening, he could see above himself. He could see the whole situation above himself. So the person who crashed, himself, everybody involved, the people, the ambulance, like everything. He could just see everything happening above him. Just such a trip. Yeah. Let's get to these coffees, ladies and gentlemen. The coffee crew is here. I see you, of course. The truth doesn't disappear just because people stop looking for it. That's like
What up, though, Coach? What up, Jack? Can you turn your mic up a little bit? It's just so low.
no,
I love your show,
no. You turn it up. You turn it up. You.
obviously. Like, I listen to it while I'm at work. Maybe not outside. Can't really hear much of anything you're saying. I can hear the clips just fine, but I think because your voice is so low.
Nope, not giving in. I watched Baron yesterday. He didn't give in. I was like, oh, good. Phew. Baron's like, nope, we're going to keep on going. Like, it's not happening. I was like, oh, good Lord. Perfect. And then you have people where I can hear just fine. You just leave it. You can't please everybody. Nadia bought a coffee. Amy, who is having surgery, half saint, half scar. I don't know what this is, Amy. Thank you, Crisis Game. What is this, Amy? Is this your book? Is this your daughter's book? The book about your daughter? Let me know. Send another video. Let us know how you're doing. She said something about getting fused from, I believe you said C2 to C7. I believe that's what you said. Yeah, I hope that's going okay so far for you. Rudy, Jesus.
Are those, what are those blue tarps over there? You got a homeless encampment?
Where?
Over there.
Church.
There's a bunch of blue tarps over there in the hill. You see them?
Heavy on our hearts.
That's a wood pile.
Okay.
That's our wood piles.
Okay, good.
There's no homeless.
I'm just making sure, because you know how it is out here. I was like, oh my god, it could be blended in. What if Bob didn't see it?
No.
I do appreciate that.
Those are huge piles of wood.
Good.
Yeah,
In fact, I gotta go restack.
do
one
it. I
over
mean,
there.
when it comes
That
to
fell apart.
doing something like that, so weighing on your heart, you need prayers.
Looking good.
You know, like,
Yeah, it is.
Really,
Good.
There's a song.
I like the color that it turns when
Yeah.
you put the oil on.
I like the look of, like, moist wood.
It looks rich. It gives it a richer feeling.
By
Mm-hmm.
someone that's like
Just look dried and all puny.
Yeah, like it looks like a fresh rain.
And just having a
Moist,
little
so
color too
hydrated.
seems to work way better.
Mhm.
Less to have to deal with.
Yes.
You don't know which ones.
Do you have an octopus on your leg?
I think so.
Okay. You like fish, huh? Oh yeah, you live in Florida.
Yep. And I'm a Pisces.
What?
And I'm a Pisces.
Are you a Pisces?
Mhm.
So am I.
I think we're all Pisces, right? Or no, Linda and Josh are Aries.
No, Linda's Taurus.
Taurus.
How is?
Our birthdays are all around each other.
In all
My,
things. They used to stream for 8 people.
I was
You know?
3.5 hours
I
off
used
the,
to make
or
videos
4.5
for
hours off
6
the
people.
cusp.
6 people would show up.
So I'm closer to Aries than I am Pisces.
Yeah, March 16th.
Mine's
So I
19.
pray both of those for you. I pray
Mine's
for the
19th.
guidance.
Yours is the
I also
16th.
pray
Yep.
for the endurance.
Yeah, that's right. We're supposed to have a birthday party together next year.
In Jesus' name, please give these
Get everybody
people
together.
guidance.
Alright.
Also give
Good.
them
I'm glad everything's
endurance
going well.
to get through the time.
Yep,
where
everything's
things
going good.
Through the peaks and
Just
the
trucking
valleys.
along.
Yeah, you're almost done with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that leather landing in the stairs too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Llama Amazon. That's a good
Oh, what time is it?
Sent
11:31.
you YouTube,
Please
buy
do not
this
let me get distracted. I have to leave here by 2.
message.
Okay.
You'll love
I'll
the
let you
map
know.
of St.
Okay.
Michael's
I cannot leave
Street.
any, like 2 is my like absolute, like latest.
Also, there's a
latest.
cave
Okay.
of St.
Okay.
You'll be probably done
on
before now.
Mount.
Oh, maybe. I need more gloves. Would you bring me a couple more gloves?
Sure.
The cave of St. Michael? Really? I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that existed. The St. Michael.
We'll do from that angle now.
Oh, it looks crazy. Okay.
I'm gonna sit you down for a second here.
Greetings from Cape Cod. First time since the 7th that I'm catching you live. Yarmouth, Massachusetts. I will be home this weekend, missing you all. Ready to get back to my Monday to Thursday fill of the Mint Daddy crew and hilarious coach. Peace and good health to you all. Hit the like, see you for Tampa. Hugs. This is Coach Skittles. P.S. My brother just said this guy's
Hi everyone. Hello. How are you? We're doing some deep cleaning today, but just wanted to pop in and say hi. And that I miss you guys all. Peace and good health to everyone.
Okay. Interesting. I should do that buy me a coffee stuff.
I saw you in the chat earlier today, so I'm glad you got to
There you go.
catch up on it a little bit, you know?
Hey, do we get any money for our location?
What do you mean?
Well, you're using our location.
Oh, for what? The live stream?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm only gonna get like 2 cents. I'll give half of it.
I'm just kidding.
I'll give you half of whatever I make.
I'm just kidding.
Then I started going into Darren's chat.
50%.
And then you start to realize.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. And then you're in Candace's chat as well. That chat's just crazy. It's just way too cool. But it's still really important. And I just didn't realize it. And I thank you guys for showing me how important it is. You guys are always talking, being friends with me, getting into arguments.
Live streaming is definitely more of a labor
Just a
of love
weekly just
than
cause
it is
prices can indeed.
a form of income.
Someone sent me free Wilson, free Benny. Yeah, Benny does need to be free, you know? Candace's chat has tons of bots. Yeah, it does. It does. But, you know, I can see the people who are from here in there and from Barron's in there. So it's like I know somewhat who's reading. But yeah, another time. It gets a little crazy. Hey, Coach, appreciate you telling us about what you're learning. I recently gave a speech about trust in his plan. Your videos today brought this to mind. It's hard because trusting God requires us to surrender the version of ourselves that wants to stay in control. We say we want transformation, but most of us want transformation without disruption. That's so true. We want growth without sacrifice, maturity without surrender. The problem is that life does not seem to work that way. The things we worry about are largely outside of our control anyway. Trust defeats my illusion of control. Blessings to you and your family. That is beautifully said. Correctish English. That is beautifully said. That is really, really well said. You're right. You want the strength, but it's like, you know, it's like you want this. It's like you want the six pack, but you don't want to work out. It's like you don't want to have to take an hour, 2 hours a day to do that. You just want the thing, you know. And that's, I guess, touching on to our whole, you know, instant gratification that we always want. We always want instant gratification. And I
Not
guess
me. I'm willing to work for it.
That's so well said. We want transformation.
I wish more people
without disruption.
were like
That's
that.
so true. Because I
They're
can
willing
relate
to work
that.
hard to get what they want.
I'm very much like,
Sacrifice.
I have this shirt. I want to wear this shirt. I want to wear it every day, and this is the shirt I wear. I don't care. My headphones are like this. The camera stays here. I keep things the way they are. I'm gonna go eat the same thing I always eat. I'm just gonna do the exact same thing. And I don't like when things get disrupted. I don't like it at all. And I guess we're often like that. You don't want that major thing. When it comes from transformation, I mean, the other day I was crying car because of how good God is. You know, it felt really good. That's a disruption in my natural life. Like that's like, okay, there's too much going on right now. You know, it's yeah, it's so true. You know, growth without sacrifice, so true. You know, that is like one thing I know I've done is not smoking. Like I've told you guys many times, I would love to smoke. I would love to do it. I would love to not be sober and be able to be a person. I would actually would. I don't look down on people who do that stuff at all. I love that stuff, but I just can't. I just can't. Like it's just not for me. For the person I want to be, it just doesn't work. Like I can't mix those two things, and I can't mix in life with that and be the person that I am right now. It just doesn't work at all. So it's something that I give up that I really do want. I was telling you guys, I love weed. I love the smell of weed. I love the way it looks. I love the way it smells. I love the way it rolls up. I love when it breaks down real fine. I love it when you have I love when your fingers get all sticky. But I can't do it. It's not my thing. You know? Yeah, it's maturity without surrender. Yeah. Great, that was great. Good for you, man. Or lady, I should say. Lady? I can't see you. Good for you, person. Good for you, person. Ran screenshots of messages of Lance, Andrew Wilson, and possible Frankfurt insiders in Canvas through Claude AI. They have some
Smoke
of
break.
the same issues showing possibly fake doctored apps are available to kids, and they are prone to making errors too. Yeah, I've seen that.
Are there no mods in here right now?
I see that. But who knows? It seems like out of all of like Lance and Tyler seem fake because of the way that it's all worded and the time that they happen.
It's a foreigner
Those seem fake. Andrew seemed fake
who
too.
is porn brained.
It doesn't seem right. It seems weird.
Oh, cool, Stella. I am outside. I'm in Lane County, so we're in the general same area. What do I do with all my gloves?
Yes, coach. 215 in New Zealand.
I like Silverton. My aunt just did the Silver Falls loop. She got lost trying to find Winter Falls. My aunt was gonna go to North Falls and wait for her. They were actually supposed to meet at Winter Falls, but my aunt walked to North Falls trailhead instead on accident, and yeah, it was a whole thing.
So you were talking about Charlie.
I saw that. I just was listening. Coach just talked about it.
Something that Andrew Wilson put out in
She was surrounded by her family.
before he went to debate Canso, and he stated, Turning Point USA, the organization he left behind.
Follow me, Stella. Follow me on Instagram. I would love to go and have people to go hiking with and stuff. So follow me on Instagram, so that way I can follow you back.
In academia, the thing conservatives have wanted for 60 years. As someone who can barely,
Unless you're a man. In that case, no. If you're a woman, then yes. If you're a woman running the dog account. If not, I won't hang out with men, so. I'll hang out with husbands and wives together, but.
Just know that information just know. Wait, what? I thought it was a wild thing to say, but also.
He is doing amazing.
Know that information to add it to your speech. I just went to look up if that was commonly known thing, though, because maybe I'm just really ignorant about all of that. And the main website that was quoted for phrasing almost exactly.
Oh no! I sucked up all my battery.
Was the Texas Department of Education.gov.
Got 21%.
What can get Mortal Kombat Ultra happened 60 years ago? Anyway, so who exactly is writing for Andrew in these terrible speeches he's giving? I wish I could give you a timestamp, but I cannot.
All right.
Suffer
Back to it.
again. also starting to watch some of the older videos over the weekend once I got caught up. I think I might try to make a few clips if you're okay with that. Never done clips before, but a lot of what you said in the past is prevalent now. Really? Anyways, thanks for all you do, Coach. Thank you. Yeah, do it. Do it. Yeah, of course. Why would you do it? Do it. Make some clips. Lady made it recently. She posted on X. It was a great clip. It's a clip of me singing, doing R&B, singing as a BB. So check it out. You know. Candace, Iron Speaks. Did I read this one already? Thanks for the last day. It's been a sad day, and I knew. Okay, yeah, let me read this one already. Not to push off your sad day. I hope you're having a better day. What was your name? Candace? Candace Speaks Iron? Joshua? I hope you're having a better day than yesterday. I remember you telling us yesterday was not a good day for you guys. Or for you. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Let me see here. A little shorter today. Yeah, that's it. We're done. We are done, ladies and gentlemen. Someone may have said, "Ricky, blowing your nose." That'll do okay. I wondered how that would do if I posted as a YouTube short on my main channel. I wonder how just that. What would happen? Right? I wonder if it would get a whole bunch of likes. We'll see. Send it over. Tag me on X. We'll post it up. Why not? I don't know how to access the Discord though. Access the Discord? You just gotta go to the Discord. You just gotta go to the Discord. I don't have that link in the bio. Holy Fire Luna was putting that link out before. I have to actually start putting that link in the bio. It is not there. Tomorrow, Jonathan, tomorrow that link will be in the bio. 100%. I'm gonna look at doing that right now, as soon as I get off here. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much. I do appreciate it. Candace is not live today. I don't think Baron will be live either. We'll be putting out some videos later tonight. And that is about it. I will be back tomorrow. I'll get to that Hayden stuff for sure, because there have been some weird developments in that case. And we'll see what else is out there. Maybe Gary will continue his investigation on me. We'll get some updates there. I'll cover Gary doing the investigation on me, that whole thing. Anyways, later, Bianca. Someone said, go be a dad. Exactly. That's what I'm going to do right now. Right now.
Well, shit.
The tablet's gonna pop out. Why wouldn't it? Trying not to touch it with any of this shit. Fucking asshole. Please face, of course, it won't work. And then YouTube's Face ID won't work, so I'm gonna have to fucking touch the screen to put that code in too. How fucking hilarious. Okay.
Aya would be Rose. So this is the look into. Ruby Rose.
Okay.
Ruby Rose comes up in the David trial too. In the grand jury, right? And Ruby Rose just got in trouble for supposed assault. ZT also, Ruby Rose released a text of him on releasing more. Okay, so released a text of Hayden's. So I need to go check her Instagram out. All right. So, without further ado, I guess let me just get started on my notes. Okay, so Hayden's book, silly me, I didn't write down the title. It had a reckoning. I think This Is Me, A Reckoning. It's funny though, because Sean P. Diddy Combs' book, like Hit Piece Expose is also like something about a reckoning. Hayden Panettiere's book title, just so y'all can know it. Now, interestingly, it is sold out on Amazon. Everybody and their mama went and bought the book. I had to get it from Barnes & Noble. The hard copy book. Her book is called Hayden
That's why she
Panettiere,
was,
This Is
she's
Me,
dead.
A Reckoning.
Because now her book sales have skyrocketed.
She did a whole book signing tour, and there's a bunch of news and stuff about it. However, this is interesting. I heard Brian was being watched too. Won't surprise me if he suddenly expires as well, to tie up loose ends. You mean the boyfriend everyone's blaming? Y'all, I have whole entire theories, but it's all based on what I read in this book. So before I tell you my crazy theories, let me tell you my notes. All right. Now, again, this is just my impressions based on, quickly reading a book all day. Probably I wrote some stuff wrong. Probably I read some stuff wrong. It was like a whole 200 something page book and notes in a day. So this is like a 30,000 foot overview, but this will be for people who haven't read the book. And this is her in her own words. I think it's only right that we do hear her out, because it was so recently that she wrote this book and put it out as her own, in her own words. I'm sure she had editors. I'm sure she had people help her write stuff. But I know it hits really close to home, because, if it is drug related, I've lost a lot of people to that, and I am pretty much exactly her age. She's 1 year older, 11 months older than me. So it's, chilling. Okay. So, book notes. All right. So from the prologue, we'll start in the prologue. Her mom got her into acting when she was just 8 months old. And she is clear to say that it is her mom who got her into acting. Clearly, it couldn't have been her. She couldn't even talk or walk. So,
her mom was a soap actress.
From the north part of New York City. They went back. Okay. So in the prologue of the book, she's like, I've been back spending time with my dad. And her dad and her mom had been divorced for years now at this point. Her dad is I don't know if he's officially married, but she calls this other lady her stepmom. So she writes the prologue of the book, and she's like, I'm at my dad's house. Feels nice to be back here in New York, Rockland County. It's been a rough few years, she says, in the prologue of the book. She was there with her dad to renew for a few months. her little brother, Jansen, died. See, I even wrote it in here, Jensen. Like, I was just scribbling notes. So this is just like an overview. Please don't take this as fact. Please, I actually encourage y'all to go and buy a copy of her book. I mean, the money does go to her estate, which goes to her kid who isn't 18 yet, which means it goes to her baby daddy, who's the brother of the current mayor of Ukraine. So if you want to buy the book, that's who the money's going to be going to for now.
Yeah, that's why.
But maybe they'll keep it in the estate. Otherwise, I would never encourage anyone to look this up free. Who knows if there's even a free PDF copy you could read somewhere. So make sure you buy the book so that you can support that. Anyway, she says in the prologue, her little brother Jansen died in February 2023. The little brother just died. Now, again, I'm gonna maybe get emotional. I didn't even put this together factually until right this second on live. It's still so raw. My dad died like 2017. It's been almost 10 years and it's just still so raw. Like, I don't think you ever get over it. Really. No. Like they say time heals. It don't. No. It don't. It really don't. It's the same. It's just the same forever. It's cruel to lie to people and tell them time heals. It doesn't. Anyway, I know from, I guess, secondhand experience, my dad lost his little brother. He only had one little brother, one sibling. It was a brother. He died in 2000 or something like that. Maybe 2001 too, something like that. My dad's little brother died. The way my dad's little brother died, shot in a drug situation. There was drugs involved, there was weapons involved, and he died. He was 28 years old at the time. I remember my dad changing from that situation. I saw my dad cry 2 times. One time was when his brother died. There was a before and after to when his brother died. And I was 8 years old, 10 years old, something like 12, maybe 11. I don't know, something like that. So, I mean, I was like a kid, whatever. But my dad was never the same. He never, ever got over it. Ever. And ultimately, my dad met a similar type of end. It was like a drug-related, end. And I not only believe, I know. A huge reason for the push behind my dad even using substances and stuff at all, other than actual physical addiction or whatever, was he never got over his brother dying. It was so sudden, so young, so bad. And I think he just couldn't process it ever. My dad would have been about 30 at that time when his brother died. So when I get to this part in the book, all right, Hayden was about in her early 30s, 33 or so, when her little brother died. And he was about my uncle's age, and it's like a sibling dynamic. And I haven't read nothing else. I'm just in the prologue. And I'm like, the gravity of that, anybody can imagine how bad it would be. You can imagine it, and it would be bad. But I saw through my dad's experience
how bad
it was
really
like a dark cloud that was over him forever after that death. And that doesn't have to be the case. But what do I know at the start of reading the prologue of her book that came out 3 months ago is she's now dead in a suspected OD. So I'm like, I bet she's been up over that since. There's no way to describe it, I'm sure, to people who haven't been through it. And that was what my video this morning was about. But at the beginning of reading this book, and I'm going to not do any spoiler right here for this, you don't know how the brother died. It just says he died. I could come up with some speculations at that point, but it just says he died. She says, though, it has left her devastated, obviously. And she says, if my brother were alive, or if he could somehow send a message to me in some way, I think he would say, death and birth are part of life. This is one of the very few quotes I wrote down from the book. The brother would say to her, death and birth are part of life. death and birth are part of life, but they allow rebirth if you let them. So not only is she saying that this is a message that she has internalized, but she's saying it as if she knows her younger brother, who's 4 years younger than her, so would have wanted her to hear this. So it's been about 3.5 years since he passed. Very, very short time in the grand scheme of getting over an immediate death of an immediate family member. So she kind of introduces, I'll say the cast, but this is not a fiction book, so it's not the cast. But, some of the characters that we as readers are going to encounter. And one of them is her daughter, Kaya. But Kaya doesn't live with her. She also grieves. And of course, again, hits very close to home because I know what it's like to be the child that's not living with the parent who's making those decisions because of those decisions or whatever, right? And then she introduces Vlad. Very interesting, spelled with a W. Vlad, but it's,
He
Ukrainian
is
is
evil.
Vlad.
That man
That's
is
the
evil.
baby's daddy. That's Kaya's daddy. And
Like truly evil.
Hayden's ex-fiance. They never got married. She does talk about it in the book. She also says in the prologue that she grieves for the fact that she doesn't live with her daughter.
I know
She
that man is evil
grieves for
because
the
I've
death
seen him in Miami,
of her
Florida.
brother.
Like I've seen.
She grieves all
I've
the
been in
hours
background.
she lost to addiction. So it's setting the stage here. I don't want to say stage
No
because
woman
it's a
should be
book,
alone.
but like, if we're talking about a book, setting the stage for what the reader can expect. And addiction is going to play a part of this book.
Very scary.
Okay. Chapter 1. Non sono francese. I don't know, girl. If that's Italian, is it French? No, if it's French, it was French. Well, right? So, non sono francese. I guess I'm not French or whatever. So, Hayden Panettiere was born August 21st, 1989.
Dude,
She
it's her
died
birthday.
unexpectedly, tragically, August 17th. Okay, so she was born August 21st and she died August 17th, 2026. Her dad, she says in chapter 1, was a cop, a New York Police Department NYPD cop, but then he changed careers to being a firefighter. All right, that's going to become important later. Her mom, on the other hand, we get an introduction to her, and I had already been a little introduced to the mom because I had seen a few of her interviews, one that came out yesterday morning. One of the reasons I finally just pulled the trigger on reading Hayden's book is that mom is a stage mom. I first became aware of this mom's existence a few months ago because I was aware that Hayden's book had come out. I heard in the news, the tabloids, and the mainstream news as well about a story that Hayden wrote about in her book, which we will get to. And it's in a chapter called Trust, incidentally, about when she was, I don't know, maybe 18 to 20 or so years old. And she went on a yacht with a friend who she really trusted. And she's on the yacht and they're all having a great time and everything's going well. And she had no warning signs that anything was amiss. And all of a sudden her friend leads her downstairs into, a bunk or like a bedroom part of the yacht. And waiting for Hayden there on the bedroom part of, in the bed under some covers with his, arms up behind his head or whatever, like basically waiting there for Hayden to be brought and delivered to him was a so-called, quote, British singer-songwriter. Now, everybody was trying to figure out who that was. And a lot of people had started to speculate that it was James Blunt. James Blunt yesterday put out a statement saying, no, that wasn't me, and all of that. So when the book came out, there was I would say like a PR event around it. Like there was press releases probably. There were like publicists were doing their job, PR campaign, you could say. Hayden also went on interviews. Now, what I can say after having now read the book, she really is not very hard on her mom. She really isn't. She makes a lot of excuses for her mom. She says she loves her mom many times in the book. She says she thanks her mom for making her who she is today and stuff. So she really isn't hard on her mom in this book, especially as she could be. But I think, she does say things that really happened, or at least to her memory that they really happened. So when the book came out like 3 months ago in May, the mom was making statements like Hayden is a narcissist, basically. She has a personality disorder that makes it to where she can't take responsibility for her own actions, and she wants to blame everybody else for her problem. Like, this mom came out acting a damn fool. So I kind of already had a little bit of awareness of that mom, and like the fact that she was kind of like, fast forward to yesterday morning, before I read all this whole entire book in one day, fast forward to yesterday morning, I saw an interview or two from that same mom, and I just saw her effect and her demeanor and her bright orange lipstick and the way she talks about Hayden. And, of course, primarily I feel bad for the lady. She's lost 2 kids. That make anybody go crazy. I mean, her only 2 kids and they're gone. She lost her marriage, like everything she probably used to be excited about having and doing as a little girl or even a young adult, she just doesn't have now. And so, I mean, in some way, most ways, I feel very bad for her. But I just can't shake that, like, her coming out and like basically undermining Hayden a few months ago when the book came out, when Hayden was still alive. So we get introduced to the mom in chapter 1 by Hayden, and her name is Leslie. The mom's name is Leslie, and she wanted to be a professional actor. She went to college. She went to New York. Like she was trying to be an actor, the mom. She wanted to be a professional actor. Now, Hayden had an aunt, her mom's sister, named Jana, Jana, who was checked into a hospital when they were kids for 5 years for anorexia.
Well,
That was a very, very important detail to me. Because the Very Pablo Show, OMG, a new topic that's got me invested, that has me invested. I know, here we are again. The fact that the mom's sister checked into it, now the mom is 70 years old, okay? Think about the fact this had to have been 60 years ago. 60 years ago. The mom's sister was checked into a hospital for anorexia for 5 years. That was not that common. Now, Hayden may have been told a different version of the truth. She clearly wasn't alive then. Her mother was a child. But what it did kind of tell to me is that Hayden is from a family that exercises immense control over their children, which parents are not only entitled to do, but they do have the duty to do. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, but it reminded me of Britney Spears' conservatorship. Hear me out. Reason being, Britney's dad and mom, at the first sight of losing control of her, began to take measures to control her. We saw this with the Jason Alexander marriage. I made a video on that. We saw this where they swooped in Jason Alexander and they said, no, you were out of your mind or whatever. They got the marriage annulled. We saw it starting to reach out to other people to be her manager. Sam Lutfi. They said, oh, Sam Lutfi's going to end up killing her, whatever. So we now know, and it's a historical fact, that her parents exercised immense control over her. I'm talking about Britney Spears still, but there's an analogy here. The reason I think the things I think about Hayden come from this Britney stuff. So I'm trying to tell y'all why I think it instead of just saying it as a fact or even as my opinion. We later found out in Britney Spears' book that her dad, Jamie's mom, had been put into the psych ward, or they called it an asylum back in the day, by her husband. So Jamie Spears' mom was put into an asylum by Jamie Spears' dad. And so it's like, makes sense. Got it. Now, rewind all the way back to 60 years ago when there wasn't social media and there wasn't the body standards of what they are today. What would it have possibly been going on in that household for the sister, Jana, to have anorexia so freaking bad? She needed to be hospitalized for 5 years. Probably something went on in that house, if I had to guess. These are all speculations. Okay. So I'm like, all right, this gives me some context. Because in the house where Hayden Panettiere's mother grew up, the parents locked their daughter up for 5 freaking years for an eating disorder. Now, I don't know all the details. I don't know any of the details. In chapter 1, it just said it. Mom's older sister, Jana, had been checked into a hospital for anorexia for 5 hours, from the home. See, I told y'all I might have got some stuff messed up. So I just wrote down a year, amendment, a year, which is much better than 5. I was blown away by 5. Okay, amendment. Her mom's older sister, Jana, was checked into a hospital for anorexia for a year, 5 hours from their home. And the mom and the dad would drive for 5 hours both ways every weekend. 5 hours one way, 5 hours the other way every weekend. Hayden's mother, their parents would drive to see. Now, it was 1 year, it wasn't 5 years. However, it still caught my attention because, again, were parents doing this back in the day for anorexia? I'm not saying that people shouldn't be hospitalized for it. I'm just saying this was Hayden's mom's 70 years old now. So this was going on in her house. She lived in a house where the parents exercised extreme control and probably restriction, I'm not a doctor, I'm doing a psychoanalysis 60 years in the present, but if somebody got anorexia in a house, there's no social media, there's no internet. Maybe they developed anorexia because of the social standards from the church, or maybe their parents are really hard on them and call them a fatty or something. I don't know. These are just things that just kind of like splatter through my mind while I'm reading chapter 1. However, it does show that Hayden's mom grew up in a household where the parents would take serious control over their kids and put them in a hospital for a year, 2 hours, 5 hours away from the home, etc. Thank you so much to Christy in Florida. And shout out to the mods in the chat for the $20 super chat. Smash that thumbs up. Yes, please. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you, Morgan, for the 2 jewels, and to Robin. Or she didn't have a problem at all and they were crazy. Anything, right? So what I wrote down in my notes, star controlling parents. That's what I wrote down in my notes. So take with that what you will. You know, I interpreted it that way. Hayden did not write the book to say her parents were controlling. No. It didn't say they wanted to help her so much, they loved her so much. It just was kind of written like it was a fact. Okay. So you also find out in chapter 1, not only did Hayden's mom want originally for her life, for her hopes and dreams to be a professional actor, but also her mom was 9 months pregnant, still doing Midsummer Night's Dream performances, which is a Shakespeare play. Her mom was 9 months pregnant doing Midsummer Night's Dream performances, and she played Titania, okay? Now, the director was scared the water was going to break on the stage, but luckily it never happened, and they had to re-sew the mom's dress. So Hayden Panettiere was on a stage as a fetus. Okay, so that was important to me. Hayden was in fetal form doing a Midsummer Night's Dream, right? She literally was like in utero growing into a human, growing from, 2 cells into a human while her mother was in this role. Okay, so that's what I got from chapter 1. Chapter 2. Now, I will let y'all know, some chapters have a lot more notes than others. Chapter 1 is one of the longer ones. Some chapters don't have any sentences, and I'll just breeze through them. But there are like 6 chapters. 46. So chapter 2 is titled, also, in chapter 1, I didn't write this part down, but I'll tell y'all.
I wouldn't be hanging out with anybody who would go to a trap house.
Actually Italian.
I don't hang out with drug addicts.
And the reason that it is spelled like Panettiere with the E at the end is because apparently the Panettieres came through Ellis Island, as many Italian immigrants and descendants of Italian immigrants in the United States did do. And when they came through, the record keeping wasn't too good, and they changed the spelling of the name from Panettiere with an I at the end to Panettiere with an E at the end. But apparently, like, her whole family actually pronounces it Panettiere, and they just spell it with the E still or whatever. But anyway, okay, so she is of Italian heritage, not French. And, there's always a funny, silly name story, isn't there? Anyway, chapter 2. Mornings with Michelin. Michelin, like the tires. So by the time Hayden was 8 months old, she already had a modeling contract. And not with any old middle of the mall. Actually, I think they were doing this in the mall. But it was Wilhelmina Models, which especially in 1990 was a huge deal. Wilhelmina Models did the sponsored Project Runway, and that's, you got the Wilhelmina Models contract. But the web keeps webbing because the Wilhelmina Models thing came up in my first series on this channel. My first show was the Melania Trump one with like the, I forget all their names now, but you know, the right hand to Trump, and then the right hand to Trump's Brazilian baby mama, like saying she was going to expose everybody, including Melania. I haven't looked into that recently. I've been so busy doing literally everything else. There's just like my brain won't even think another thought. But Wilhelmina Models. Okay, so Hayden Panettiere was already signed to a modeling contract by the time she was 8 months old. And for representation, for modeling agency to be her agents. 8 months. Okay. She couldn't walk, she couldn't talk, but she had a modeling contract. Her first audition was when she was 8 months old, and it was for Michelin tires. Her mom, and this is important to me, because like I think a lot of times, because babies are just babies and it really is innocent, you know, we see a little Gerber baby, we see a little Michelin tire baby, and they're just wearing their diaper. Or like, you know, Full House, we would watch that in the 90s, River, and they would have the kids in their diapers, and it's like, you know, this little girl, you know, when she grows up, she'll be a woman. Don't be a pervert. Like, it's just a little kid. Like, it's a baby. It's okay. Well, here's the problem, y'all. There are perverts. Okay? It may be innocent to you. But I think we've all seen enough Skeeter Jean and Gideon, you know, Premium to know there's perverts. So to me, this part was important, even if Hayden didn't pick up on it. I still think even by the time she wrote her book, a lot of the stuff that was so weird about her life, she had started to realize this was not normal. But a lot of the stuff, I think she really just was like, yeah, like, so.
I mean, for Hollywood, it's not really that
She
crazy.
said her mom stripped her down to her diaper and placed her down into her spot. This was for the Michelin tires. Now, she strips down Hayden into her diaper and puts her in the tire. And then Hayden's like, my head was bobbling, like I almost fell, but I didn't get the job. So that was when she was 8 months old. Then Hayden had her second audition when she was 11 months old, 3 months later, and it was for the Play School brand, and it was a toy train commercial. So they wanted her for a commercial. She was hired. So she got hired to do her first paid acting job through a modeling agency for a mega brand before she was 1. She said her first memory of life is watching a train circle the tracks over and over and over. But she doesn't remember if she remembers that from her memory of the commercial at 11 months old, or if that was from seeing it on TV. And to me, this is the start of a theme that I noticed in the book of a dual life, a dual identity. We're going to see this theme a lot. Dual identity. I know it's my first memory, but I don't know if it's from the set or as an audience member watching it. I don't know if I'm the product or I'm a viewer of it or a consumer of it. It's that Hannah Montana conundrum. You know, it's the best of both worlds and it's the worst of both worlds. Best and worst. Also, I mean, there's that MK, you know, splitting and fractaling, but we won't do that. Fracturing, not fractaling. Fragmenting. Thank you. Yes. And from the time she was able to get her first memory memorized, it was from her first audition. Now, was it from the audition or was it from watching the commercials on TV for years? She don't know. And she says it in the book. She doesn't even know. It must feel like you're living in a dream. You'll see more. I mean, we're only on chapter 2. So maybe y'all will agree with me, maybe you won't by the end. But the ad ran for years. Okay, her first memory, watching the train circle. She said checks arrived in the mail all the time from the commercial. But baby modeling couldn't make you rich. Remember, she's 11 months old. Checks arrived in the mail, but baby modeling couldn't make you rich. Chapter 3, Stage Fright and Howard Stern. Chapter 3, Stage Fright and Howard Stern. By the time she was 5 years old, Hayden Panettiere had done 50 commercials and way more auditions because she didn't get every job she auditioned. She talks about a specific commercial that she'll never forget. I have it in my notes as the Chex commercial from hell. Do y'all remember Chex cereal? Since there's no visuals, I'll see if I can find. Oh, she didn't get this job. Hold on. Let's see if I can find. Y'all know so we can probably figure it out. Let me see. See if we can find the commercial she didn't get the job for. That'll be a fun little extra thing. Let's see. Chex cereal. Commercial boy and girl. 1992, 1991, 1998. Okay, I don't see one from that like
I
exact year,
auditioned
so
for a
I'll just
Chex
show you all like
commercial
this is kind of what she was auditioning
1991.
for. In this commercial, she describes this audition as one she's never gonna ever forget. I don't know if if it was one of these or whatever, but one of these, this cereal, or these Chex. Okay, so Hayden, chapter 3, Stage Fright and Howard Stern.
Stop.
This is the first time where you start to see that she does experience stage fright. She does experience kind of speechlessness. She's maybe 5 years old or so, somewhere around that, 4 or 5. She had done 50 commercials by the time she was 5 years old, but there was this one commercial where she actually had gotten maybe hired for the job, but then she got fired because she wanted to impress this young boy. So she's like, it's the dreamiest 9-year-old boy I ever saw, and I was only 5 years old, but he was just so handsome, and he had this beautiful blonde hair, and this, I just wanted to impress him. I wanted him to think that I was cool, and they put this bowl of cereal in front of her. She's like 4 or 5 years old, and she's like, I was eating it. And so eventually, I'm like thinking, oh, if I eat the cereal, the guy will know. If I eat the cereal, this 9-year-old will know that I like it, and like that's my job here is to like the cereal, right? So she's like not understanding that her still, she's through her recollections, she's not as a child understanding what her actual job is, which is to perform for the camera to make a good commercial. It's like she's